It's not liking that. Let's drop down. Let's try that. Right, I need to find a palette. And I need to do my water jars. Right. Let's go empty these. Oh. How's the stream? It looks quite healthy. I spoke too soon. Right, I need to find a palette and I need to find my gouache. And I'm good to start. Where did I put that paint? Oh, is that paint palette? Gosh. Whoop. Oh, that stream is not looking particularly healthy, is it? Needed to improve. Let's take the image of the screen. Right, let's continue painting. Oh, I need to hire my chair. There we go. Right, I think we started. Stream's looking okay. Right, so let's keep with painting. Right, so we need to do more white and darks on the leaf. I need to do another layer on this because it's a bit patchy. Because I've messed up a bit, but we'll persevere and see how we get on. And obviously I need to detail the windows and a few other bits. So yeah, I need a small paintbrush to do my lines. This is where I need to find that set a small paintbrush. I'm going to say that's a small one. Is this one that's faulty? I can't remember. I have got a Jackson's brush somewhere that's actually faulty because it's got like a long hair. Let's use this one. Yeah, that's not faulty. Okay, let's start off with some white paint. Yeah, let's continue doing some of these bits on I'm really enjoying working with gouache actually. I need to do it more often, I think. Sometimes it's very difficult because I'm used to working with watercolour quite a lot. When you get used to working with a medium, doesn't matter what that medium is, it could be any medium. Once you're used to it, it's difficult then to use a different one, I find. You're quite used to how it works and how it behaves. Oh, hi Box of Paint. How are things going? How are the cats? Have they stopped attacking your feet? I just realised that the screen looks very bright. It looks a bit over brightness. Let's have a look, see if I can fiddle with that. See if I can darken it a little bit. Look a little bit too blown out. Let's darken that. Hang on, let's get my screen up. It's really difficult to get obviously the lighting quite correct. Oh, that's a bit too intense. Let's try that. Actually, is it going to be better if I do that? How's that? Is it too, or is that too dark? Let's give it a go. It might be okay. Not getting much colour coming off that at all. Try that. Hopefully I can get this finished today. Be exciting. It's taken quite a while. Cats are good now they've got their lunch. Oh, that's good. It's weird how some cats like feet. I think my parents have got a cat that likes to chew feet. And I think the rats are pretty keen on feet as well. Right, let's try and fix the building where I've lifted a bit of gouache. It could do with another layer of gouache paint on it. Let's try. Oh, hey Gabor, how are things going? Yeah, it's going alright here, thanks. The weekend's going very quickly. Far too quick. I could do with another day or two added onto it. Still, after next week we get a longer weekend, don't we? Because of Easter. So I've got the Friday off, Good Friday. Sadly, I haven't got the Easter Monday off. But at least I get one. Trying to be really careful with this, because if I go with this too much, I'm going to start lifting that layer underneath. And we don't want that. It needs a bit more water. It's a bit too... I think it's quite runny anyway, but... It's the problem with gouache that you're re-wetting, you can't quite get it to a good consistency. It's drying quite quick too. It's definitely one of the wow, I guess a nice downfall. Also good, well, bad downfall when you want it to stay. If you want to do like a flat wash. Wash dries pretty quick. Especially chalky ones I've noticed. Like, I think I've mixed this with the white and Naples yellow. You can just see that's drying really quick. Hopefully it's going to dry streak free. But we'll see. Can't remember, is it this weekend or next weekend we get our daylight savings as well? Can't remember the exact date. But yeah, we have our own daylight savings. I believe Canada has just had theirs. I don't think the US have had theirs yet though, have they? Don't know. Right. I just rinsed my brush in the wrong pot. Never mind. Let's move this over. And I'm going to try and rearrange my pots so I don't dip my brush in the wrong one. Let's try that. See, I think, oh yeah, spring, so they spring forward, so the US have just moved forward in time. Right, let's paint some of the mushrooms. I've got some mushrooms that I need to paint on the house. The front. I think it's going to be best done with a tiny brush. That's one thing I've got to look for on Jackson's. It's a tiny brush, more tiny brushes. They're really helpful when doing like gouache paintings to have tiny brushes. I use sable brushes with watercolour, so I don't have to worry so much about having tiny brushes for watercolour, because sable brushes pretty much get really fine detail because of that point. But I wouldn't want to use that on gouache. With gouache, I feel like it would. It would ruin the brush because they're quite delicate. Sable brushes. I don't want to do a thick paint medium with them, where the paint is going to get stuck right down in the bristles. That wouldn't be so fun. It's just a slightly darker one. Oh, hi Nettie, how are things going? DST is all over the place. Makes scheduling super awkward. Yeah, daylight savings does, yeah. I always find it odd they get it first though. Why we haven't like followed suit. I think this is the last year for it, isn't it? For Europe, I want to say. I'm sure that in the EU have just ruled that this is the last one. Or is it this year that's last year? I don't know. I keep reading it this last year, but I don't know if it actually is. And I think the UK are looking at following suit. I think. Don't quote me on it. I like the winter one where I get the hour back. An extra hour in bed is quite nice. But it's a spring one that I really hate Or I used to really hate it when I used to work on Sundays. Because we'd have to like go to bed an extra hour earlier on the Sunday because we obviously had to get up an hour earlier in the morning. So if we were going to bed at sort of 10 or 11 o'clock at night, we have to make it an hour early. Going to bed at 9 o'clock in the evening was weird. Of course, even though you went to bed early, it still felt really early when you got up at obviously like 6 o'clock in the morning, but it was because the time difference was more like 5 o'clock. Go, got some mushrooms. Oh, I need to paint around the house, around the flowers. Hold on, let's rinse my brush. Let's get it back in with this white paint, well, the cream paint. Let's paint around the little, I guess, I'm planning them to be flowers. I've not really thought about it. Why do we have daylight savings? Is it more because of making it safe for people to go to work and children with school? I'm sure it's something to do with children that we have daylight savings. I say it was originally for their benefit. I might be wrong, but I'm sure when I was at school that's what I learned. It was for the benefit of children, like going to school, but when it was like daylight, and coming home when it was daylight. Right, that seems to be drying alright actually. It's always a scary feeling with gouache when doing layers like that. You don't know how it's going to dry. It could be a bit scary. Right, that needs to dry for a little bit. We need to do the under bit on here, so I'm going to need to mix up more grey. And then I'm going to have to, I need to try and fix those bushes a little bit. Let's see if I can fix the bushes while we wait, because that bit's sort of dry. Where is a brush? There we go. Trying to make it as thick as I can. I'm going a bit too watercolor. Right, I want green. Oops. Get a nice green. Give them extra work time. Oh, it's for farmers. Oh, working time. Oh, because the daylight we're doing bit. Yeah, I can see that. But nowadays with like lighting and stuff, I don't really see. Is it still beneficial to do that? Like, surely now we've got better technology. Is it something still beneficial? I think it's another question. Oh, it's fuel consumption. Okay, slightly weird. Like, I don't hate daylight savings. I mean, if it has to happen, it has to happen, but I'm not fussed if we lose it. I think I'd be fine if we lost it. Thankfully, I'm somebody that's never forgotten. I'm convinced it used to happen. It used to happen not on Sundays. I'm sure it happened once in the week, I'm sure I remember somebody, it was a teacher when I used to go to school, I'm sure we had it happen in the week once, and a teacher turned up to school early before the gates had opened. I'm sure it happened. Convinced. But touch wood, I've never forgotten. I've never had to deal with the horror of being late or too early for something. So you'd be disappointed if you forgot that the clocks had gone back and you got there somewhere early. You'd be disappointed that you missed out on the extra hour in bed. I suppose in a way it's better than being an hour late to something. Oh, wartime fuel consumption. Oh. Well, yeah, we don't really need it now then, do we? Because we're not currently at war. It's weird how we still keep traditions like that, even though it's so old. Oh, hey Paolo, how are things going? You were away in Texas, and the fall one we would have to close the entire bar down, cover it with 2, and immediately undo it all when they went back. Isn't it when they go back as well, people get an extra hour in the clubs? I remember people saying that. If the club stayed open. I've never been clubbing, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, I'm sure that I've heard people say that they get an extra hour, and that they, like some clubs that used to celebrate it, like an extra hour, and they do like special drinks offers or whatever. Poor people that worked. What would happen? What would happen when you would work that time? Would you get like an extra hour pay, or would you lose the hour pay because it went back? And the same thing when it sprang forward. Would you get an extra hour pay even though you didn't work it? Yeah, that's one thing I find weird. Like, it's gotten really light now in the mornings. And obviously when we fall forward, it's going to be dark again. But then at the same time, I also prefer it, I think, in the evening. Is it? I don't know. I know one of them changes in the evening. Texas had really strict liquor laws. It's actually fully closed and out of sight for a minute. Oh my god. Oh yeah, I think I remember seeing something about Texas having really weird laws. Like when it came to like alcohol. There's a lot of dry counties on there in Texas. Oh, you're preparing a workshop for high school teachers to listen to. That's exciting. Something new. Right. What are we on next? I think we're on to the main bit of the building. Grey, we need to the top of this. So I'm going to need some grey paint. And you'd think this would be easier to find my tube of grey paint because it's the only metal tube of gouache I've got. I bet you'll still take me ages to find. When you did night, you would pay the extra hour and lose the extra hour's work. Oh, that must suck. Especially if you've only just, if you're not going to be, like if you change jobs, I guess, it would suck. If you stayed in the same job for a year, I guess you wouldn't notice it. I've never run a workshop, but I would imagine it is hard work to do. That's a very strange grey. I don't know if that's showing up. I think it's a bit out of shot. It's a very odd colour, this grey. I think I need some blue. I've got some blue on the palette. If I use a bit of blue and some white, we should be able to get a bit of water on the white and some blue. Cool the grey a little bit. Also needs warming up, I think. Yeah, I don't know, it's kind of medium grey. It's a really weird grey. I think it both needs cooling up and warming down. Let's see if I can add some brown to it. Also, I think I need also some black to darken it. Well, I prefer to avoid black if I can, because it's just soul consuming. There we go, I think that's not too bad. So again, I probably also want some white paint for some of the highlights. So let's see if I do a little section, see how it looks. That was a little bit of a fail. Very big fail. I think I'm working a little bit too watery. I don't know how I would feel like. I always and ah about, like, it's always on my mind, like, being a teacher. Like, it must be nice having a good salary and having summer off and Christmas off. But at the same time, it's a lot of work. And I'm not a big fan of children. It's also the problem. Yeah, I've used too much water in this gouache. Let's do a bit less, see if I can do this square. Let me see how it dries. You're playing with acrylics because you're back. You're lacking patience today. So it's taken 10 times longer to dry than I remember. Oh no. Yeah, I don't like how quickly acrylics dry. It bugs me. I think I've only worked with them once, and that was for 5 minutes. Well, not 5 minutes, but it was for one painting. And I never finished the painting because I was so bored with acrylics. I didn't like the way they blended, I didn't like the way they looked. I didn't like the way they behaved. Like gouache, I kind of like the way it looks. Like it's really nice and matte and kind of smooth looking. And obviously it's a bit more forgiving because you don't have to worry about it drying out on your palette so much because you just re-wet it. Whereas acrylics you can't, so you're worrying about the paint drying out on your palette. You're then worrying about the paint drying too quickly when you try to work with it on the painting and mixing. You're then having to squeeze out fresh paint every time, keep mixing and then trying to match shades, and no, I just can't be bothered with it. Whereas gouache, you'd have to worry about it drying on you, you'd have to worry about watercolour drying on you. You don't really have to worry about oil paint drying up on you unless you're sat in the same chair for a week, which you shouldn't be. Acrylics is definitely my most hated medium, I think. I still need to give coloured pencils a go, like properly. I just put my finger in something. Try and wash that off. Because it's just going to make a mess. There are a lot of strange noises going on today. Sounds like someone's dog. But nobody has a dog around here, so... I think somebody in one of the other blocks has a dog. Oh, you want to make some videos out of the workshop? That'd be interesting. Do I dare go and try with some white paint? If I've got a small brush that I can try it with. That's not a sable brush. I did have another small brush somewhere. Number 2. Is that? No, that's a sable brush. Definitely not using that. I used to use the black ones all the time. These Pro Art ones all the time. They were really good. But I did get one that was defective once, which was irritating. Now I can't find that paintbrush that I want. Can't find it. I just use my size 4. Hot ice cream. What's hot ice cream? Is that just normal ice cream? It melts as it cools down. Oh, I've not heard of that one before. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to Google it, I think. Some hot ice cream. Find out a bit more what it is. See if I can make some. Where's that white come from? There was no white on my brush. Oh, this white gouache can be irritating. It's stuck in your brush, you don't even realise it's in there. We'll see what happens when it dries. That's very watery. Far too watery. Try and absorb some of it. Don't get it, I've cleared my brush. Why is it still showing up as white paint? There's nothing on there. I'm even wiping it on my hands, it's still saying. Guess it's just the water. I'm making a real mess of it. Let's use my tiny brush maybe. Might stop it being too wet and watery. That's better. Oh, I'm getting my head into the camera shot again. Always doing that. It's not good. I mean, I guess it's okay. It's not horrendous. It's made from methyl cellulose. Is that edible? Might not even be edible. We're talking about ice cream, it might not be what we think. Has everybody had a good week? Anybody done anything exciting this week? Or anything they want to share? Right, let's try and find a dark grey. Oh, methyl cellulose is edible. Oh, I'm going to have to Google it. God, that's a lot of paint in that brush. It's only a little thing as well. God. Doesn't get like absorbed like all fibres. Okay. It's not too bad. I think it's getting there. Well, my fancy paint muller arrived this week, which is exciting. My wall order is arriving next weekend. Thanks to our sleep host service, I have to wait a whole week for my wall order. Because the item is too big to fit into my letterbox, so they can't just leave it by my door. Which is super irritating. Paint some of the, that's the wrong brush, paint some more of the bulky bits, that's the word. Paint some more of these bits. it's just very, I don't know, it just could do with warming up a bit. Darkening, it's just not very grey, is it? For grey, it's very wish-wash grey, which is weird. A bit black. Let's try that. Oh, that'd be really cool. So you've been thinking about painting an illustration for the cover of your workshop. That'd be really cool. I always find it really interesting, people who do workshops, how they get into it and how they do it. Like I know Lee, like pre-COVID, did quite a lot of workshops and classes and things on painting botanicals. Not that anybody would listen to me do any of that, but I'm surprised there's not been one for paint makers. Especially as I'm always seeing new paint makers every day, like pop up on my Instagram. More and more people start making their own paint. I can't believe I've been making paint for like 4 years now. It's insane to think. It's gone so quick. Right, that needs to dry, and then I'm going to add some dark bits to it. And I might show off my fancy paint muller while it's just drying, because I want to show it off. Let's get out. I will do like a proper unboxing video on it, and the test drive, I think, in the video, because it is really awesome. So heavy as well though. So this is it. This is the fancy paint muller I bought. It arrived the other day. Or was it yesterday? It's nice and frosted on the bottom. It was originally just a paint baron, but I asked him to frost the bottom of it so I can make it use it for paint making. But nice and turquoise blue, speckled with white. I think that's just really cool. It's very heavy compared to my other one. Very thick. I'm a little bit worried about the handle being solid. It feels a tiny bit thin. But yeah, it's got a nice hold to it. So yeah, that arrived. And yeah, I can't wait to use it. I just got an email from a customer, a very big email, and I don't know if I want to reply to it or not. Yeah, it's really pretty. It's definitely a luxury item though, which I definitely want to make very clear when I do the video for it, that it's not something that I would recommend people go out and buy if they want to just start getting into paint making, because it costs £52, so it's not particularly cheap. Definitely not cheap. But it's one of those things that I've done it for a while. I kind of wanted a nice treat for myself and a bit of an upgrade. I think it is a tiny bit bigger than my current one. But yeah, it's a luxury item. You don't need it to make paint. I think the model that I've got now, I think I paid $25 for mine, but they're going for around $30 now, I think, from Jackson's and Cornelison's. But yeah, it's a luxury item. Don't feel that you need to buy a fancy glass paint miller. I don't know if anybody else makes them, any other glass makers. I feel like the paint making community would sort of flash up and say, oh, here's another person that makes them. But no. Just quickly, mine came from Thomas Petty Glass. He's on Instagram and he has his own shop. He's a glass maker and he's based in the UK. So if there's any UK people that are looking to get paint millers, some fancy ones, that's where mine came from. It's nice that I could get one that was from the UK. Even though shipping is not cheap, he sends everything out in track shipping, so it's not, well, signed for is what it's called in the UK. So you have to be in to receive it at the moment. They can't just leave it on a doorstep. Of course, they used to make you sign for, but due to COVID, they've stopped that, and they just now have the requirement of you being at home and collecting it in person to receive it. But that does mean the item gets to you pretty safely. That post service aren't just going to leave the item randomly on your doorstep. So I think that means for international ones, I reckon he probably sends it tracked, which is not cheap to do. I want to say that to send it to the US is about, is it about £8 or £9 to send track shipping to the US? It's not cheap. So I think that price plus additional cost for like the box and his time wrapping it, because it was really well wrapped. There's no chance that any breaks, chips or scratches happening to it in transit. It was super snug and well wrapped. So you think with that as well, it would be, yeah, you're probably looking at £15 to get it to the US minimum. And then you've got your customs, of course, to pay for. I think the first paint maker I've seen with one was Stacey from Start Watercolors. Even though it wasn't actually Stacey that introduced me to them, it was actually Rings that introduced them. I saw her raving about it on her Instagram page, and I immediately had to look at it. And I spoke to her a little bit about them. But yeah, I wouldn't buy it unless you are looking for something specifically that pretty, or you're a serious paint maker and you've been doing it well. Because they're not cheap. It's not overpriced. Like, I wouldn't say it was overpriced. I feel it's very much well worth the money, because it is like a work of art. Like, you could leave it out. Even though I think the problem with paint millers is they look a little bit X-rated. I think when my partner first saw it, I think I got the question of, is that what I think it is? I'm like, no, it's a paint making tool. It's not what you think it is. You got yours, your husband got yours a few Christmas ago. It had its own tax. Was that while you were in the US? So I wouldn't have thought you'd have your own tax in the UK for it. Is it just a plain one, or is it a fancy one? I know Crema sell quite a lot of Mullers. I think they might be a tiny bit cheaper than Jackson's. Not Jackson's. Well, yeah, Jackson's and Cornelison's, but you then have to pay for shipping from Crema. And because Mullers are not light, you'd have to then pay extra to get over. I've heard as well, at the moment anyway, Crema are being really difficult shipping to the UK, which is a real shame because I think they're turning away. They're causing a lot of people who want to do business with them to reconsider it because it's being a real pain about it, apparently. My Crema order I last ordered was ordered end of November, so it arrived before we finished the Brexit transition, which is good. I planned it that way. I thought I didn't know what was going to happen with Brexit, so ordered some pigments, and as many as I could, in case I don't ever get the chance to order from them again. But I have looked at Jackson pigments. I've ordered one from Jackson's before and it turned out to be fine. So I'm happy to order more from Jackson's. Problem is, when I went to look the other day, 2 of the pigments that I wanted to order were out of stock. Typical. So we just have to wait to see if it comes back in stock. But I put some items in my cart, ready, saved, and it came out to about £90. And in that cart I didn't have any brushes for gouache, nor did I have, on top of that, an etcher sketchbook that I was considering looking at too. So I think I'm going to have to rearrange my cart and remove a few items from it, because that's insane. I don't want to be paying that much. We'll see how much more paint I sell. I think that might be the answer. I've still got quite a few bit of paint left in my store actually. It's not all sold out. But I didn't promote it so much this time round. I think I kept pretty quiet about it. And apart from on Patreon, and then literally like a week beforehand, I just spammed with a load of posts. There is a US pigment manufacturer that I want to get some pigment from in the US as well. I want to get some from, I can't remember what they're called. It's a really big one that people get like the gemstones from. I want to say they're called master pigments. From the top of my head, they do like the gemstone ones. So lapis, malachite, vivianite, those. I'm interested in getting the vivianite from them, because it's cheaper than from Crema. So you were in the UK, had to do some checks about pigments and things. Best figures the Muller itself was handmade, and with a slab or just cut glass. You had to pay import tax on it from when you were in the UK. Did you order it from a UK person? Because you shouldn't have had to pay tax on it. That's all included in VAT. That's like done automatically. It's really strange. I might have a plain one that was, I guess, more affordable than the fancy one. Is there a C. Robertson Miller, I want to say? I think it's a C. Robertson Muller. It's in my drawer. Charles Robertson, yeah. So C. Robertson, Charles Robertson. It's a the writing on it's faded because obviously I've used it so much. And comparison, whoa, they're quite a bit different. The handle's thicker on my Robertson Miller, which is probably a bit nice to hold. I don't know if this can be so comfortable to hold, but the base is actually kind of the same. Because you think the base looks a lot wider, but there's a lot of this Muller that's not actually base. Base ends about here because it's domed. The dome bit's a lot wider than that, so the base is actually kind of the same size. We're probably talking about 1/2 centimetre bigger. It's just more chunky. So we'll see how well it goes. I'll be really upset if it breaks. But it feels very heavy, like compared, but the base is really huge. I don't know if he's intended to do that, or perhaps that's something he may want to work on in the future. I don't know, because it's got the same surface area, near enough, but it's a lot lighter. We'll see. I might prefer mulling with my old one. We'll see. I have no idea why he decided to go to the US. Oh, so he bought it from the US. You got a whole starter kit with more PB29 than that you could use up in a lifetime. It's got a nice space to push back down the paint. Oh, rather than run it out the sides. Oh, you're talking about my Muller? It's got a nice space to push down the paint. I guess so. It won't run up the sides so much. True. That's so strange. I wonder why he ordered it from the US when we've got lots of Mullers that you can buy from in the UK, like you get from Jackson's or Cornelison's. And then as well, you've also got Kremer that would be, at the time we would have been in the EU, and it would have been cheaper. That is odd. Maybe it was the specific Muller that he liked, and thought, oh, you like it, because of that. In general, I don't like it when people buy me art supplies, because they always buy me the wrong thing. Every year I get an art supply that's not really overly usable. Because people tend to get the cheap stuff, like the almost dollar store kind of stuff, which is fine. I'm not snobby, if you want to use dollar store, it's fine, but I use professional quality stuff, and that's what I'm accustomed to, and that's why I spend my money on it and don't ask for it for a gift, because I know it's very expensive. So I don't ask people to buy me it because it's pricey. But it's always really frustrating because even though they've bought me a nice gift, they've always put some thought into it. It's almost unusable because, yeah, and they've wasted their money on something that I can't use. On my new one, yeah, I don't think paint's going to quite get up the side so much. I know on this one, paint got around this bit quite a lot. But we'll see how it behaves. I really want to mull it. I might film the unboxing later tonight and mull some paint because I really want to use it. I'm like a big kid. It's got a new toy. I have to use it. Have to play with it. I've got quite a lot of videos that I've got to finish off actually. I think there's loads I've got to finish off. Thinking about it, lots I need to edit and voice over. So perhaps if I film that tonight. I don't know if I'll get around to doing any video editing tonight. But this week I think I'm going to focus on doing some video editing and get some finished. I think it's been over a week now since I put a video out, so I need to get it going. I'm currently in the middle of working on a little mini series of student grade paint, so I want to finish those off. I've got 3 videos filmed of it. I need to edit them and voice over them, and then I need to do a big comparison video of them all. That's going to take some time because I need to do some painting demos. So I need to draw up a painting demo. and paint it 4 times on camera. So it's going to take a very long time to do. I'm going to be simple about it, I think. I'm just going to do some small ones. I might get a quarter sheet and cut it into 4. Let's see how big that is, and then just do the painting on that. I might just do like 1 flower and like a few leaves and do that and paint with it. I think it might be the quickest and easiest way to do it. It was Rublev, and it was really well put together little kit. I've never heard of Rublev before. There were 12 pigments, and he topped it with lemon ochre and ultramarine blue. So I told him they were easy. Yes, I would agree. Yellow ochre and ultramarine blue are very easy paints to make. Very difficult to get wrong. They're very forgiving. It came with pre-made binder, and that's lovely. Yeah, that's true. It can be difficult to find good binder. I've not used any other pre-made. The only pre-made binder I used is Schmincke, and that was okay. I mean, it wasn't like the Schmincke paint they make already, but it was still a nice binder. Oh, hi Kelly, how are things going? Oh, welcome back. I don't have any drink. I had some lemonade. In the US that's called soda, I believe, because it's fizzy. It's carbonated. And that's all run out. And nobody's bought me any drink since. I'm hoping that somebody in the next room will hear that and bring me a nice drink. Maybe. See if I can do. This might be a little bit too dark. Swipe a bit of fresh paint there. I think that my dark's too dark. No, so we don't want it too dark. So it's going to look too off. Let's try that. I think it's a bit darker. Let's have a look. It could do being a little bit darker than that. Actually, I don't know. I think that's not bad. I'm very indecisive. It's a little bit thick. It's not spreading too well on the brush, but yeah, I'm quite happy with that, I think. Oh, sketchbook, that reminds me, I need to chase up Isla and see if she's got another sketchbook for me. She's the person who is sending me sketchbooks. Did you receive mine yet, Gabor, that I sent you, which was Island's book? I've not heard a lot from other people in the exchange how they're getting on. I think we're all kind of keeping the images secret, aren't we? I will have a video of mine, of Island's book. I'm videoing them all. I've even got mine that needs videoing, that I videoed, but I haven't actually finished the video. I've got so many. Oh, hi Fabricus. I didn't even see you come in. Yeah, Island's book's really interesting, isn't it? It's handmade. So sorry, I think a spoiler. Island's book is handmade. I just spoiled it for some people, but it's really unique. I'll say no more on it because I don't want to spoil it. But before, when I put up all my videos, anything relating to the sketchbook exchange, I will put on the video. Spoiler alert, because I don't want to spoil it for people. I know some people don't want to know. I wrote that because it's their sketchbook, or they want to wait until they see it in person. I'm not too fussed. Like, if mine gets posted to the Discord, I don't mind. But I am excited seeing it in person in about a year or two time. In about 2 years' time. It might move a bit quicker than I know some people are getting through sketchbooks quite quickly. And obviously some places are postage moving quicker. Like if you're shipping in-house. So those in the US shipping between each other, or even to Canada. Because I think, Kelly, have you got Lee, I think? It'll be a bit quicker than between some countries like the EU and the US, for example. Instead of it taking like 2 weeks, it'll take like 4 or 5 days. Same within the UK, it takes a couple of days. So I'm sending to Gabor, it will only take a few days. That's alright, I hope you're enjoying it. The dot card was February. Sorry, I was a little bit late with your dot card because I was waiting for the sketchbook to be finished. It was finished, but I would have had to film the last little bit of it. So I was a little bit slow sending your dot card reward out, that one. March should be really soon. I should be sending March's end of the coming week for Patreon. That is very dark, I've decided. I don't like how dark that bit is. Let's add some white. Oh, that's too much white. I've just contaminated my white spot. Wonderful. Oh well. It's fine. You're disappointed with the dry shift of Rembrandt paints that you used in my sketchbook. Hopefully the ink compensated for the lack of colour. I don't think I've used Rembrandts in a long time. I have some. I need to add to the collection a little bit before I do like a proper full review. I think they are actually the next brand that I need to review is Rembrandt paints. I think that's next on the agenda. It's Rembrandts. I did the swatching of it. Last year on a live stream, I think. Did I do that swatching? Or have I just got the colour chart drawn up ready? Can't remember, but... that's good, I'm glad you're okay with me batching it. Yeah, I was a little bit late. I've gotten a little bit late with Patreon rewards lately because of January and Christmas, and then I was waiting to see what was going to happen with Brexit and shipping, and the coronavirus gave us some shipping issues from the UK. So I was waiting to see what would happen for those to clear up. And then on top of that, we have February, which was a really short month, and I feel like for a lot of us, and definitely myself, the month just kind of disappeared. And before we knew it, we were at the end of the month. But I think I'm on the ball with this month, March. They're all done. I posted a picture of them on Instagram and Patreon, so everyone knows what they're getting. And yeah, I need to wrap them up this week and send them out at the end of the week for the end of the month. I am going to start adding some leftover dot cards from Patreon to the web store, but they won't be as cheap as what they are on Patreon. Like, I'm going to put them at a price that would make them more expensive than if you signed up to Patreon, just so Patreons don't lose out on that bonus. Think about pricing around £6, so it's much more affordable to get them for Patreon than what it would be to buy them individually, unless you only wanted like a specific month of dot cards. Oh, you have a 12 set of half pans from Rembrandt. If I remember rightly, I did like the Rembrandt paints. They have some really nice colours. They have some really unique pigments. I think I've seen a PR 207 in there that might be a unique one. Don't think I've seen that pigment before. But Jackson's are really annoying me with their pigment info on them at the minute. They're giving some wrong pigment information about the Rembrandt paints. Like they're saying there's only one cerulean blue when there's 2 different cerulean blues, which is bugging me at the minute. I hope if I ever ordered it, they send the right one out, because I really like Rembrandt's cerulean blue. I think it's a really nice cerulean. That's very true. I feel we had no February, went straight to March. Yeah, I agree. It definitely went very quick. I felt like we had the first 2 weeks of February. I then felt that was it. Like it felt like a relief because January was over. January is always a really long month because it's like the wind down from Christmas. I think it's like a 4 or 5 week month anyway, January, because it's like tacked on after Christmas as well. It feels longer because obviously Christmas ends and then there's like a little wind down and then it's January, New Year, and then and people tend to be a bit more harder for cash in January because they would have got paid early in December to buy Christmas presents. At least that's how things tend to work in the UK. Most companies will pay their staff a few days early for the December pay packet so that they can buy Christmas presents. So people are a bit more tighter on money. And some people like to tie their bills up as well at the end of the year. That's what I did. I tied up my local council bills in December. So I was definitely ready for the January payday. So yeah, I think February felt it was nice to be out of January, but blinked and then it was gone. Moved very quickly. You only realised on Friday that you've been dating all your dudes was April, so you mentally skip February and March. It would be nice. I think a lot of people look forward to April and May sort of time, I think, in the UK, because it's when our weather sort of improves a little bit. We get some lighter days and some sunnier days. Because I think definitely January, February, March are really miserable months in the UK. Sorry if anybody has a birthday in those months, but they tend to be a bit more miserable because it's cold, it's bitter, it's grey, it's overcast. It's a bit like that as well at Christmas time, obviously, like from November and October time it can be. But I feel like the atmosphere is a bit better because obviously we're all looking forward to Christmas, so there's Christmas lights everywhere, decorations everywhere. So I feel like that softens the sort of miserable days that time of year. Whereas obviously January and February and March don't have that. So it's nice to get into some nicer weather. And then of course we have the summer, which is scorching hot, which I could do without. Yeah, I think that's what I mean. I agree. There's nothing special about either of those months. They're kind of just like meh months, like you just don't, there's nothing special about them. I think that's not too bad. It's always going to be a bit rough because gouache it's just the way it blends. I always find acrylics, gouache and oils don't blend so well. Or you have to spend ages blending them, which can be really difficult with gouache because it doesn't ever properly it dries, but you can reactivate it. Whereas I know acrylics and oils, you can have things dry and it be dry, and then you can go over the top and do more work on it. No, you can't really do that thing. I do have a medium actually that sets whatever's on there, so I could use that. Like I have, what's it called? Aquafix. So you could put this on gouache. It increases the water resistance. I think it would work on gouache. I'd have to test it. I wouldn't want to put it on gouache and then it lift all the paint. It's something I'd be really worried about. May starts with your high temperatures by June 2nd. It's about 102 Fahrenheit. Whoa. I think our June tends to be pretty mild. It's not until July. We tend to get really... It tends to be middle of June, end of June, that we get really warm temperatures up to the sort of mid-20s. And then we'll get like this, like 2-3 weeks. Sometimes it's in July, sometimes it's in August, where it will get to like 30 plus. It really varies. I don't even know what that is in centigrade, 102. Let me have a Google. PlayStation. Where did this come from? I'll Google it. Oh, local collection only. So I was Googling how Fahrenheit, when I 102 F2C 38. That's really hot. Yeah, I think it's it gets scorching here. I say it's like 30 degrees. That's really hot for the UK because we don't have aircon. So it does get really hot. No buildings have aircon, and the way our towns and cities are built, when they're not really built to keep things cool, so it does feel really warm here. Like the streets feel hotter because there's more people and the way the buildings are built aren't done properly. So yeah, it feels quite hot for us, 30 degrees. But yeah, I guess if in Texas, if you're in from like the real hot parts of the US, then yeah, 30 degrees is probably not very hot. The Schmincke Medium, so it's called Aquafix. I forgot you guys won't be able to see it properly because it's backwards. It'll be mirrored because I flipped the camera. But on the back it says medium for watercolors to increase the water resistance of Schmincke watercolors. It will be the same for any colors or any water-based medium. It also has a US remarks, not intended for use by children. That's really interesting. Under EN US, it's like the general bit I just said, but only for US only. It says US remarks, not intended for children. Did you guys in US not really did you guys in the US just give everything to children? I find it weird that that comment's only for people in the US. It's really strange. Exactly. Continental Europe, summers are very hot, easily above 40 for me. So for me, 30 is great. 35, what you would call too hot. Yeah, we don't have AC here. That's why I say our summers aren't hot compared to some people, but because we don't have AC, all of our buildings are then hotter. So everything else feels hotter. Like the streets outside in general can't condition themselves properly because everything around is hot. There's nothing to cool it down. Whereas in the US, okay, it's hot, but where all the buildings have AC, that cools all the buildings down, so everything feels a little bit cooler. And you get it drier as well in the US. In the UK, we're very humid, so we get hot, humid summers. I think last year we had a summer day. I remember it was August. I remember coming home. It poured down with rain, but it was 29 degrees. So it's pretty gross. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think Spain's got it right. We're built out. Our houses are built out of bricks, so it's built to keep drafts out. So it helps to keep the heat in rather than let the cool air through. But it doesn't really keep the heat in very much either. It only keeps hot air in because everything's brick. The brick takes on the temperature of everything around it. So if it's cold outside, all the bricks go cold. So homes feel quite cold too. And then as well, same thing that happens in the summer. It's very sunny outside. The bricks get hot. The houses then get hot, and we pretty much bake. Yeah, our streets smell a lot. Yeah, our houses are not built brilliantly. They let cold in when it's cold and let heat in when it's hot, which is not really what you want. painting. I need to get on because we've only got about half an hour of this stream left. And I'm nowhere near finished, and this needs to be finished, so I need to crack on. Right, let's paint the door. Oh, actually, I need a smaller paintbrush. Paint the door. Do another coat of paint on the door. I'm really bad at chatting. That's the thing, we've actually got to be a lot more careful with your lines. You've got to be a lot more neater. Because it shows. Because it's so fit, because the colour's so solid. This watercolour's a bit softer. And it's easier to soften the lines on the edges. So it doesn't matter too much if they're not neat with watercolour because you won't see it so much. These, I guess I'm going to do them a darker version of this. I might mix some brown with that. I'm not sure what I'm doing with the windows. I've just left them white. Not really a good move, that was it? I'm not sure what to do with them. Right, I need to put a bit of brown here to paint that basket. This is supposed to be a basket with flowers in it. I'm not sure I've done a good job or not. Actually, I can switch to a bigger brush for that one. I feel like that'd be fine. With a slightly bigger brush. I am looking forward to the UK some this year because we will have some freedom again. Oh, I got my head right in the camera then. But at the same time, I'm really dreading it because of the heat. I'm really interested in finding out what's going to happen with the climate because of COVID. Like how much our climate has recovered and how other things are done because of COVID. Because obviously they would have had a break due to the fact that people were staying at home more, less cars were on the road, less people were around because people weren't travelling. So I'm really interested to see what's happened because of COVID, what the effects have been. Right. These windows, I'm really not sure what I'm doing with these windows. Do I just paint them blue? I might scrap what I've done. Like I don't think this shows up on camera, but I've done like the inside of the window. So like the inside ledge and everything. I think that might be not so good. I think I might just paint them all blue. It hasn't recovered at all. Like the environment, surely there must have been some benefit. It's been like a good 10 months to a year where it sort of had a bit of a breather. Right, I need an eraser to erase those pencil lines. I think I might do a video at some point about the Aquafix. I've also got a spray, a fixative spray from Schmincke as well, for spraying on things to keep them from damaging or transferring. So there was an increase in energy production. I guess that would not help in some ways because people were staying at home. But surely at the same time, it must be somewhere like there's going to be less cars on the road. Surely that's got to be of some help. Not so many gases into the air. Not so many people going to touristy places. Paint these blue. I need some blue and some white paint. So some blue there. What's that? Is that a chunk of paint? I need some white. I'm going to use some fresh white because I don't want to use... Oh, that's yellow. Let's not put yellow with the blue. We don't want green. Okay, is everything working now? I think OBS just disconnected, which is a pain in the bum. That's quite nice. That's a nice baby blue. Let's go for that for the windows. It would be if until I've added too much water. Let's add some more blue paint. More white paint. Let's try and really get some blue. I'm still confident we can smash this in half an hour. We're not far off. Got to do the windows and a few little bits. Oh, hi, Curious Colour. How are things going? Yeah, let me know if things aren't running properly. If you can't hear anything or see anything, let me know. But everything's showing us fine on my screen. Still a really high frame rate drop, which I'm really surprised about. Thought it might be a bit better. Still trying to work out the kinks of streaming. It varies so much. But yeah, we passed our anniversary, our COVID anniversary this week, of a year of lockdown. In the UK, which is always pretty sad. The raw tan gouache are also available in little glass jars, 16 or 15 ml in the UK, or only in tubes, because in Brazil where I live you can find them in jars. That might not be the same thing, that might be poster colour. They do so many different versions of gouache. I've even seen some gouache on Jackson's, which is different. So the stuff that I'm using is called placat vert or gouache. That's the stuff that is like gouache. I know there's some stuff in jar you get in jars. I think I've seen, but I don't know if they're gouache or not, or if it's poster paint, or if it's student paint. I'm not sure. But this one is the artist quality stuff. Most of my collection is Winsor and Newton. I really like their gouache. I have been eyeing up Schmincke gouache and what's the other one? When I remember it, Holbein gouache, that's it. The Holbein gouache, the standard gouache, not the acrylic gouache. I've got some acrylic gouache from Holbein, but they're gouache too. But the Schmincke gouache I'd have to buy from Casa. They do a Schmincke gouache on Jackson's, but just a warning if you're thinking about getting Schmincke gouache from Jackson's. The one that they sell on Jackson's is called Designer's Gouache for Schmincke. On Casa it's the Schmincke Horodam gouache. So I'm guessing, looking at the colour charts, the Designer gouache on Jackson's from Schmincke is as it says is Designer gouache. It's not light fast so much, which makes it a little bit cheaper, but it's not light fast. It's not going to use light fast pigments, and it probably won't be as high quality as the Horodam gouache, which Casa sell. So if you want some high quality gouache, you'd be better off looking at Casa if you're after Schmincke gouache. I also really want to try M. Graham gouache. I heard that's unlike most gouaches. I've heard it's really nice and really strong gouache. It feels really good. I've also been rewatching videos from Sandra Roberto. For those who don't know who she is, she's a gouache artist based on YouTube, and she's done some really good reviews on different gouache brands and tips on how to use gouache. I do want to do some videos on gouache. I don't know if I want to do like an intro video to gouache or something like that, but we'll have to see. I'm not really an expert with gouache. I haven't mastered it anywhere near enough as I have with watercolor paint. So I don't know if I feel confident enough doing videos on it, because I'm not, you know, fully lingual in it, I think is the word. Right, let's get some of this dark grey. What is wrong with my brush? It's gone weird. Let's get this dark grey on. Go for the bottom of let's go over some. So I kind of want some dark grey on the bottom of here. I also find gouache is really odd to apply sometimes. Sometimes you kind of have to stab the page in a little blotting action to kind of get it to go on and to go on nicely. That's not too bad. Oh, hi April. A lot of names on the chat look familiar. Oh, thanks for stopping by, Gabor. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Yeah, that is the one thing I really like. I think that the art community is a real tight-knit community, I think. Like, all of us, like from Ev's channels, I think Eva's brought a lot of us together, I feel. And I feel like she's done a really good job, like with her Discord and her channel, uniting people, I think. It's really nice. I'm really thankful that we've got the community that we have, because it's amazing. I've gotten to know some really amazing people through it. So yeah, I'm really glad that I have done. And I think all the live streams help as well, from Ev's live streams, and when Otto did them, it was really nice. Yeah, I think I'm kind of happy with that. Need to wait for that blue to dry so I can do the detailing on it. I need to do this door panel. But we're getting there. I feel like the end is in sight. Which is good, because I've been painting this for like, is it 4 weeks now I've been painting this for? I can't remember. It's been at least 3. I do remember how for 1 week we were doing the colour chart. Paint out all my colours from the gouache in a colour chart. So I know that took up most of the stream. 1 week. But yeah, I need to get this finished. Because it's bugging me. It's dragging on for so long. Always the problem with live streams. Painting takes a bit longer. Because obviously you can chat to people. Which is nice, like it's nice to chat to people. But obviously it's not so productive. And I'm not a quick painter in general. Like I take a long time to paint. Because I don't like to rush. And I like lots of layers. Whether that's watercolour or gouache, I like to do quite a few layers. Even though, being honest, there's not a lot of layers in this. I think there's only maximum of 3 layers in some of this. A lot of it's 1 or 2. So I did a light wash layer on some of the layers, just to obviously gauge in some shapes, some basic tones. But yeah, it's not very many layers compared to my normal paintings. My head's in the way. I've just noticed this. I need to keep it out of the way. Oh, let's design the cover with a slotted spoon siphon. Oh, I'm glad you're liking the illustration. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it, which is unusual. Normally I'm not happy with my gouache work because it's, yeah, difficult to get right. I know I shouldn't do it, complain about people, customers, but some customers can be really trying. Let's get a bit grey. So I'm going to paint these mushrooms, the mushroom stalks. So I'm paint them in grey, but very pale grey, so they're off white, so it doesn't look like it's just paper there. But yeah. I then need to do some more white. I'm going to paint the spots so it doesn't just look like paper. So it looks like some effort's gone into it. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of, but I like gouache, but it's really difficult to paint with. Watercolor is definitely much easier to handle. But I'm not going to turn this illustration into a watercolor piece, and I'm not going to, I'm not going to do this piece again in watercolor. The last piece I did in gouache, it was acrylic gouache, it was a live stream piece, and I'm in the middle of repainting it in watercolor because I really enjoyed it and wanted to see what it would look like in watercolor. Unfortunately, I damaged the paper with masking fluid, so I'm going to have to try and find a way to fix the paper either with watercolour ground, or I'm going to have to just go in with coloured pencil and try and go in with that and trying to work on top of it, because it's really becoming challenging. Let's paint the little windows. I'm trying to keep my head. If my head gets in the way, just shout head at me. Yeah, I think that's not too bad. You can't quite see the detail on the door because it's I'll go with that getting brown at some point, but obviously it's not going to quite see it because it's so small, and the quality of the street is not fantastic because it's live. Obviously, if you watch like a normal video, mine obviously is a bit better quality because it's a proper camera. Whereas this is live, so the quality is not quite as good. Right, we're getting there. Getting there slowly. That might need another layer to dry. We'll see. I'm fairly happy with it. But yeah, we are nearly done. Right, I need to do something for the flowers. I might do we go pink for the flowers? Let's go pink for the flowers, like a pale pink. Let's mix a bit of pink with white. A bit more white I think we need. Just drop my paintbrush. I'm very clumsy. That's a nice little soft pink, I think. Or I hope it is. See how it dries. But these aren't very detailed flowers, mind. They're just little blobs. Little blobs of pink. I'll do the centres in some darker pink blots, but you guys can't really see it on stream because it's quite small. thing I really am starting to dislike about gouache is water droplets. There's a water droplet there, right in the middle, and it shows. You can see the watermark when it dries. You can't always see the watermark when you do this with watercolour. So let's just get a little bit of water paint, and let's go over it. That should hopefully cover it up. It's not normal. I like a piece that's not done in watercolour paint so much. I need to do the background of that tree. I've just noticed there's a bit of background there, a bit of white paper showing behind these mushrooms. Just paint it in. It looks a bit messy. But yeah, I think this would look really cute as a postcard or as a card, you know, like a normal card. Like a greeting card, I think it would look nice as. Like as like a welcome home card or congratulations you've moved card, I think it would look really good. I'm going to paint a few bricks on here as well, I think, in different colours. So I might mix some brown with that Naples yellow. Paint a few bricks. Let's try and do the white for the roof. So I'm going to use some white gouache. Definitely going for my white gouache. I'm going to put it in a little square in one of these so it doesn't get contaminated. Then we'll paint the dots on the top of the mushroom, because you can't see it on camera, but it's definitely very obvious when you look at it in person, and it'll probably show up on a scan that they are not got any paint on. This is going to need clearing up a little bit when I scan it in, because that's a few marks around the trees that's gone over the lines. Again, you guys won't see that on stream, but I can see it, and it would be noticeable on a scan. A bit of water in the gouache mix. Reds. Yeah, let's try and do some. I can see like a pencil mark for where I've obviously outlined it here, so we'll cover that up. But yeah, I'm very, very slowly working on an Etsy shop for illustration. I'm thinking of rebranding as maybe like Penholder Studios or something, or Penholder Illustration maybe. I'm not sure what else to call it, and have that as my Etsy shop. Or Penholder Design maybe. I just want to be careful because I don't want people to think that I'm selling pen holders. Even though I could look at making pen holders, I guess. Don't know how I'd do it. With polymer clay I could. But I want to do... My head keeps getting shot. I want to have an Etsy shop just dedicated to art stuff. So prints. I'm going to do postcards, prints, potentially key rings. Bookmarks. I've got some bookmarks made out of pigments where I've done paint making, and I'm going to do as well, obviously try and do some art bookmarks, maybe some illustrations. I need to come up with some designs and some thought processes of what designs to have on an illustration. On a bookmark, that one. Thanks, Paolo. I need to have a chat. I wonder if there's an option you can have where it pings every time there's a new chat, or a specific person, like a moderator or something. It pings. Would be helpful. And they can warn me when I stick my big head into shot. But I'm going to try and aim to have that open at the beginning of the summer, is the aim. I will also have all that stuff as normal on my normal website, but I want some of this just also illustration based, and because Etsy works a bit like YouTube, it will recommend your store to other people based on what you sell. I think it would do good to get some traffic, some passive traffic going into it. Whereas if you have your own website, it's hard to get traffic because you'll have to rely on Google or traffic from other places to get people to your website. Whereas obviously it works for me having a website for my paint making stuff because I had quite a following for paint making beforehand. But if I stayed on Etsy, I think this fees would have just gone too much. Because Etsy fees are not particularly cheap. And Etsy likes to penalise you for doing things. Or if you don't do things, no. Let's try and wipe that up. Hold on, it's not done it. It's not over yet. It's not over till the fat lady sings. I can fix that. Yeah, as I was saying, the Etsy like it when you do things their way. So they like it when you offer free shipping and have like a certain number of products in your store at all times. If you don't do things like this, always have products in your store, you're always selling out, you don't have like a minimum number of listings, it will stop recommending your shop page to people. Like, it's good to build a following, like to get started, it's good to get for getting your foot in the door. But it comes with quite a few problems. Like with my paints, obviously my handmade paints, I've got enough of a following now where I can leave it on my website because people know about it and people go to it. Whereas obviously it's not. I keep getting my head in shot, I don't know why. Stupid hair. I hate my hair at the moment anyway, it's horrible. I was trying to sit back a little bit. Yeah, that was very scary, but luckily it was fixable. Let's have a bit of water on this. Let's fix it. Hold on. So what I'm going to do is this. Shh, don't tell anybody. No one's going to know. It's like that TikTok song. When I can speak. Shh, how are they going to know? That will dry and it will dry perfectly. No one will notice. See, if I did that in watercolour, that would not have been fixable. I would have been able to scrub it up a bit easier. But if it was a really staining colour, like a phthalo blue or something, that would not have been fixable. I'd have had to just deal with it. Right, let's try and get some dark pink for the centre of those flowers. On this ridiculously bright neon colour pink, which I think is called Bengal Rose, I want to say. It's an insanely bright colour. I don't know if it's showing up. Is it in shot? No, I'll try and flash it. So it's this colour here. It's insanely pink. You can tell that this colour is not going to be light fast. I don't know if they do Opera Rose in gouache, Winsor & Newton. I know they do some pinks. I think they do something called Tyranal Pink or something. And then they've got as well Bengal Rose, which is what this colour is. That's really neon pink. Right, that's fixable. Right, I need to paint the slats in the windows and I need to do some coloured bricks. So while the windows are fixing, I might do the coloured bricks. I feel like that might be easier. So I'm just going to mix some brown with the Naples yellow to get this kind of darker colour. I'll paint a few bricks on the side just to I'm not going to do too crazy and do bricks all over. Just a couple here and there to kind of add an effect. Nice illustrated effect. Just to stop it being so plain, so you can tell it's a house. We're building at the least, and not just a big blob. So you're looking, you only have watercolor medium available from Sennelier. I'm not sure what Sennelier medium are like. I've not tried it. It might be okay. It's one of those things that you just have to wait. You'd have to experiment with. I know Schmincke's are good. It's not bad. If you're looking for a good watercolor medium, start working with making your own watercolor paint. That's a good point. You're worried it won't get started. Yeah, they might have a lot of honey in it. I think as well with OBS is really not happy today, is it? OBS just cut out again. It's really irritating. We're nearly done. We might overrun a little bit past that 4 o'clock, but we are nearly done. It's going to feel good to finally be done. It's taken a really long time. Not that I've hated it, but you know when you just get to a piece and you've done it for such a long, for a long period of time. Like I've done this over a couple of weeks. Like I kind of want this to be done by now. It'd be nice to see it finished. I think that's enough brick. Might do another brick down here or two down here. But yeah, it's a nice little way to add something to some illustration. I think that's enough brick. I think. Don't want too much brick. Too much, and I think it look a bit overdone. Let's see if I can fix that window with some more blue, that top one, and then I'll do the I will do the bars on the window. We'll see where we're at. So I've just watered this down with the gouache. It looks really white because of the water that I put in it. But that should all dry and blend in. I am half tempted, if I ever see it cheap enough, to use some Sennelier watercolor medium. I would reach out to the paintmaker community and ask if anybody has any, but I know sending liquids through the post can be really painful, so I don't want to ask. I don't know whether to crack out some watercolor paint and do an edge to it, like down here, maybe to do like a bit of green or a bit of earth, like a bit of brown maybe, and do, you know, a bottom to this image maybe in watercolor. What does everybody think? But I want to do it in watercolor because I want it to be that light wash, you know, kind of effect. I don't want it to be solid. I want it to be light and delicate, not blocked in. Where's my brush? Let's do, while we're waiting for that, let's do the window frame. Somebody's doing some hammering. mean, the poor people who live downstairs must be fed up with DIY. So the person that lives across the hall from me, who also lives on the first floor, has moved in recently. I would say it was just before Christmas or just after. And obviously I moved in November. I've been doing some DIY. And obviously across the hall will be doing bits of DIY through the year. Because they've just moved in and they want to make everything theirs. Same as I do. So... Where's the window? I'm pretty happy with the window. So you think it would look good, some watercolour down here. I don't want to do anything above the horizon line because I think that would be too distracting from this. Like I wouldn't want to go in between the trees and stuff to do the watercolour. It would be a bit of a pain in the butt to do. But I definitely think either something green or maybe some kind of brown for here, for like a path. Just like a wash, like a straight line across here and blend it down with watercolour, I think would look, is what I was talking about doing. Just so it doesn't look like it's floating, I think is what I was going to aim for. So obviously at the minute it looks like it's just floating. In mid-air there's no ground. Try to be careful because this blue is really thick on there, really thickly, and it looks like it's a really lifting colour. I want to say it's the white in the paint. I've used a lot of white paint to make the blue light. Okay, someone's really going for it. Let's do the other side of the window. I'm being really awkward with the way I'm doing it. That is two windows done. Right, that's not dry, which I'm really irritated with. It's also looking like it might dry white. Oh, needs to hurry up and dry. It's really irritating. While we're waiting for that, I might do some woodwork on the do a few lines on this. Make it look like a basket rather than there we go. Look like a bit more like wood. Like you guys can see. So yeah, perhaps I should do the watercolor base quickly while we're rinse some brush. What colour do you think we should go for? I don't want to go for it too dark. I'm saying maybe like a soft brown. Maybe might be nice. No, a soft green maybe. Do I have in my collection a green earth? I know I do somewhere. Hold on. Oh, green earth. What's in this palette? This is the Holbein one. Yeah, they're all really neon. That's not going to be any good. I want like a green earth colour. I think that would look really nice. How have I got green paint on the edge there? Where'd that come from? Yeah, so I think I've got green earth in this palette. I want to say. So let's do that then. Let's try and do a bit of a green earth. What's this colour? Mix my green earths together. I might put it with a bit of Naples yellow or yellow ochre, just to kind of make it look a bit better. I need like a palette, some mixing area. What about one here? Because that's very green earth. It's going to be too dark. Let's use a bit of the yellow that's on the palette already. Freshen it up. Oh, I like that. I think that looks good. Don't think you guys can see it. There's another green here as well. It's green earth, I think. Let's try some of that one. Just mix the green earths together. Green earth is one of the few colours out there that I really recommend getting from a handmade maker. If you're thinking of getting handmade paints, you need to get the green earth from a handmade maker. They always turn out to be really good. Like really, I'm not just saying that because I make them, but they tend to re-wet so much better, and you get a stronger colour from them because it's a very weak tinting pigment in general anyway. But you get much stronger from a handmade maker. So from Sennelier, you try one watercolour, which is neutral tin. Yeah, they do have some watercolour mediums. Well, one watercolour medium. So let's do, there we go. Don't think that needs any, actually maybe it could do a bit of yellow ochre mixed in with it. Let's try some of the yellow ochre I've got here in the palette. Don't want too much. Oh, what, the medium from Schmincke, from Sennelier. What did I say, Schmincke? The green earth medium, the watercolour medium even. Why am I talking all green earth? The watercolour medium from Schmincke isn't very good. I've never tried it. I've heard that the quality is not brilliant because of the way they... bit of mixing on the paper. Because of the way that they leave all the bark in there from... Yeah, I would say, Paolo, if you're from somewhere that gets really hot and sticky, it may cause a problem. It depends how Sennelier paints behave for you currently. So yeah, let's just get a nice bit of water on here. This is cotton paper as well. This is the, I want to say this is the Hannah Müller. Yeah, it is Hannah Müller paper. It's really nice paper. It's cotton. It's their anniversary paper. I can't remember what anniversary it was now off the top of my head. It might be the 25th. Their 25th anniversary. I can't honestly remember off the top of my head. Let's try and make that nice and smooth. Go. Just to give us a bit of an impression that it's not just floating. I think that looks quite nice actually. Do a bit up there, get green back there. Yeah, I think that looks quite nice. That's a nice effect to it. Might have to go over that again with some colour. And I need to get rid of that big dark shadow. Hang on. It was a watercolour palette that I'd used. Right. This house doesn't seem to be drying very well. Let's just try it. If I can try and dodge the frame, the bit of wet paint might dry. Right. Some nice brown. And yeah. WN is gloopy. What WM? What's gloopy? Their watercolour paint is gloopy. Should be able to finish in about 5 minutes. So it's literally just this window that we're painting, which is good because I need to sort my dinner out. And I've actually got to get some of my dinner out earlier, which I needed to do. Oh well, never mind. I've just put my hand in that. Need to be careful. Right, so if I do the line through the middle. Oh, make that nice. And if I do one line here. Another one there. Oh. And if I do, that's a little bit crooked. Oh well. I can try and fix that actually. I do that. That's a bit better. I think I fixed that a little bit. That bit here needs doing. It's very... Oh, I don't know if I've just messed that up. There we go, that's not too bad. Then do one more line just here. There we go. Our green earth from WN, yeah, it's not. I really recommend getting them handmade made because we do a much better job. We can add more honey to the mixtures and more humectant to the mixtures to make them re-wet a bit better. So you get more colour off of the pan and you get better colour payoff. So yeah, I definitely recommend getting a handmade green earth. Sennelier do a really good green earth because it's really soft. But yeah, other than that, don't bother with green earths from paint companies that aren't handmade because you will struggle with them. You'll find it much easier from a handmade maker, promise. Just try and fix. Hold on. Just want to fix this edge here because it looks a little bit rough. Go. Just do this one. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the piece done. I think that's finished. I'm looking forward to turning it into postcards and a few other bits. But yeah, I think we're pretty much done now with the stream. It did run a little bit. Don't forget, guys, if you're free, Cyan Inc. is streaming in 45 minutes as well. So feel free to watch hers. Please do so. She's really good as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. I hope you enjoyed it and feeling really excited now it's all finished. I'll post the final images at some point on Instagram and everywhere else. Yeah, can't wait to make things with them. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, what's left of it, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Enjoy your weeks.